"1899 Season 1 released on Netflix last week, and many of the fans who tuned in to watch Baran Odar and Jantje Friese's new show have come out of it with many questions towards what will happen in a Season 2 if another season does go ahead. I've been thinking about the show and the ending a lot since I finished watching it, and in this video I'm going to be discussing my Season 2 theories and talking about the biggest questions that Season 1 left us with. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the entirety of Season 1, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my analysis. Before I get into it though, if you want to see future videos on 1899, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. But without further ado, let's dive into the Season 2 theories and biggest questions from 1899. So in the ending of 1899, we learnt that a mysterious man Daniel, who actually turned out to be Maura Franklin's husband, had altered codes and gave Maura the power of waking up after transferring the key from a black pyramid that Maura's father Henry got his hands on to a more toy-like pyramid that Daniel possessed. The key became Maura's ring, which held the exit code, and it would mean that Daniel allowed Maura to exit the simulation and wake up in reality. Or as I'll come to later on, what we currently know as reality. Before she did exit though, Daniel revealed to her that her brother Kieran was in control of the whole system, and even after trying to help her escape, her brother didn't agree to this happening for a yet unknown reason. Daniel hinted that the whole structure was much bigger than she could ever imagine, and his wife was left to wonder whether he would be there when she wakes up, after the ambiguous reply from him that he will always be with her. Whether that means just in spirit or that she'll have to help him herself is now up for debate, but it's the moment that follows which really could be hinting at much more down the line. When Maura wakes up in a spaceship and realises that a project named Prometheus is being run by her brother, she also notices other important details that definitely lead us further down the rabbit hole. She sees a note that reads, "May your coffee kick in before reality does," which was the same words that were written in every present the passengers received on board the Kerberos in the 1899 simulation. There's also a message on a monitor revealing that there were 1,423 passengers and 550 crew members on the project, and another message from Kieran notifying his sister that he already knew she had escaped the simulation. With Daniel mentioning that this was much bigger and Kieran knowing about her escape, then there's the chance that she hasn't got out of the simulation, and this may be another level to a deeper game. But on the flip side, it might be possible that Kieran let this happen on purpose, realising that her time inside the sim had ended and a need for her to be out of it, in turn maybe moving on to the mission's survival project. So either the spaceship is the actual reality and the 1899 sim was the training needed for something much larger, or the message and this new setting are just more deception, and this is a simulation within a simulation. Like dreams within dreams from Inception, shall we say. The spaceship also might have been a creation of Kieran, just like Maura had created her own safe haven in the 1899 location, keeping her son Elliot alive. We would have to think that it would be revealed in a Season 2 whether Maura was actually in the real world or not, and hopefully it will really link into something more impactful from a storytelling perspective. The Dark creators have a history of taking complex themes and topics and interweaving them into a striking point that they want to make. And while 1899 Season 1 gave us a lot of individual character beats and questions about what reality actually is, I think much of the later reveals will make this story's message even clearer. So now we've reached that 2099 timeline, what can we expect to be answered in a Season 2 of the show, and what do I think we could see? Well, one thing to mention from that final scene is that none of Moira's family members, whether it be Daniel, Elliot or Henry, were in the simulation pods surrounding hers. The people who were there were Angel, Ramiro, Captain Ike, Tove, Cresta, Ivan, Anka, Ling Yi, Yuk-Ji, Clements, Lucian and Jerome. But also, near the window of the ship, there was that empty pod that has a lot of fans debating over the weeks since Season 1 aired. Now, it could be likely that Henry, Daniel or Elliot was in that pod prior to Moira waking up, or it could also be possible that it's someone else, such as Henry's assistant Sebastian. Or to make things even more interesting, what if this was actually Kieran himself? He might have found a way to wake himself up and then afterwards take control of Project Prometheus. From the start of the show, Moira believed that Kieran was on the ship named the Prometheus, and it could be possible that this was a simulation that Kieran was a part of during previous loops, eventually breaking out and taking control within the construct of something much larger. What I'm suggesting is that maybe Kieran is not against Moira in the way others thought, and maybe he helped to wake her up and join him on the next hunt to escape the even bigger structure in place. Moira was mentioned as the creator of the sim, but that doesn't mean that it could just be a case of her orchestrating it all and her brother being a part of that too. She wanted to keep Elliot alive, which would be a good enough reason on its own towards her staying in the simulation. While we don't have a concrete answer towards much of this, and specifically about who might have been in that empty pod, I'm going to predict that it was Kieran, and I think that her family might have been projected inside the sim by him to help her escape. With them not being present in the pods, this leads me to think that it was Kieran's doing in putting them in the sim to aid the process of escape. Again though, if this does turn out to be close to the case, we would still have the big question of, is this supposed new reality the real one? Well, it was displayed on the monitor that Project Prometheus was a survival mission from one location to another, with the latter likely being the coordinates for a faraway planet. With it being set in the year 2099, and thinking about the big messages that these creators like to strive for, the situation on Earth might currently be quite deadly for sustaining life, and we could be looking at some kind of test for those who want to create another reality. The first season focused on characters struggling to overcome their past while striving for a new life in the never-reaching promised land. And if they then connected that opening story point to a story idea surrounding what the future of reality could be, then I think something like this might be impactful. Or for all we know, this could be completely wrong, and instead, the time spent in the 1899 simulation was the only way to survive the journey to wherever they are heading. Could be either or something else, but again, I come back to the point of how does this serve the story going forwards? The main thing to take away, and this is something that the creators hinted at in the making of documentary on Netflix, is that 1899 was structured around a single idea. And that is the notion that there is a difference between our perception of reality and what reality really is. I mentioned this in my explained video last week, but more specifically, the series built its foundations upon Plato's allegory of the cave theory. Of course, the ship's passengers on board the Kerberos took what was shown to them as their reality, but their idea of reality was flawed. They were stuck in a simulation with fake memories, but we don't know if those fake memories relate to their other real-world lives. They didn't realise that the world outside might be the real one. They essentially saw shadows portrayed symbolically on the walls of a cave, which is basically the prisoners in Plato's cave allegory. And with this theory being included in the first season and even spoken of, it opens a lot of possible avenues for a season 2 if we do eventually get one. While you could leave the story at the end of season 1 and let the viewer and characters continuously question reality in a cycle, the idea of actually getting answers links into what Henry says in the season about Moira when she's younger, finding the allegory of the cave and asking questions about its meaning. So if there is something behind the shadows, then we must ask who created the cave and what is outside of it. Henry replies in the show saying that it's God, but we ourselves can go a step further and ask the question, well, who created God? While Henry tells Elliot that Mora created the simulation, it's at this moment where he could very well be alluding to the idea that they're all inside another simulation past this one. Simulation theory is the notion that the universe is one big simulation, and you end up coming across infinite simulations simply because the logical thought or technology behind one sim is enough to mean that there are multiple sims layered. With one simulation possible, an infinite amount becomes possible, and you can never quite be sure whether the current situation is indeed reality. With the showrunners saying that the show highlights the difference between our perception of reality and what reality actually is, maybe what we are seeing here is a show about individuals who eventually work out that there are layers upon layers of simulations. They would question their existence, who God is, whether a true reality actually exists, and just like Dark, it would go beyond the traditional exploration of the show's central themes. I think they are going to do something like this, but in a way where we get reveals surrounding characters and the reality that we are currently questioning in the show. I don't think they want this to turn out like Lost or Westworld, in that we end it or finish its run with little answers towards the more complex talking points at play. And I do think that the simulation theory at the base of this show will slowly reveal itself in the seasons ahead. But whatever the case turns out to be, a season 2 would likely bring some well-needed answers and make us much more in the know when it comes to what is actually happening in 1899. But that was my breakdown and theories discussion for 1899 Season 2. Again, I thought the first season was a brilliant opening for Bo Odar and Frasia's new show, and if a potential Season 2 can build upon the first season's questions and start to answer them in satisfying ways, then just like Dark, I think they are on track to deliver another mind-bending classic in the years ahead. But to those who have seen 1899 Season 1, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and where do you think the show is going in Season 2? Let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos on Netflix's 1899, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.